Hey there, in this video we are going to discuss about arrays in JavaScript, and we'll also discuss in detail about few of the methods like map, filter, reduce, find, etc. These are very crucial to understand because these are very frequently used methods as we code in JavaScript. Let's get started by creating a simple array numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I'm just going to log this console log numbers. Yes. Firstly, let's look at map method. Numbers dot map, and if you read it here, a function map is nothing but a function that accepts up to 3 arguments. The first would be our callback function, and this method calls the callback function on one time for each element in the array. It's going to execute on each element in the array. Let's see. So I'm going to write a arrow function as a callback function, and since it has to iterate over every element, the argument for this function would be item, and this function returns an array that contains the results. It applies our callback function on every item in the list, and it returns a new array. Let's write it like a doubled numbers, and within our callback function I'm gonna return item into 2. I'm gonna format this. Yes, if you see here, our doubled numbers, now I'm gonna log it. Let's see what it gives. Doubled numbers. Yes, we are performing map on our array numbers, and we are doubling up every item in that array, and map is returning a new array that is our double numbers. If you see, this is our input and this is our output. Let's move ahead to understand filter method on arrays. The syntax of filter method is pretty much similar to map, but for filter, within the callback function acts like a test for every item to pass, and whatever items passes that test, that enters into our new array. Let's check that in detail. Let's try to filter out even numbers in our from our numbers array. That I'm going to do by performing filter method. This is going to take a callback function which takes in item and returns whether that item percentile 2 equals 0. We're just checking for even condition here. So whatever the items that are passing through this test will enter into even numbers. Let's check that. I'm gonna log console.log even numbers. If you see here, the odd numbers 1, 3, 5 did not satisfy this condition. That's the reason they are not a part of this array. And whatever the values 2, 4, 6, whichever satisfied this condition are a part of even numbers. Now let's move on to find. If you see here, for map and filter, the return type is an array, but for find, it's a single value. Let's just try to find out the number which is greater than 3. In our case, we have 3 numbers which are greater than 3, 4, 5, 6. But when we apply find over these numbers with condition greater than 3, it returns the first value which satisfies that condition. Let's check that. Constant bigger number equals numbers dot find of. This is expecting a callback function, and which I'm gonna get item as argument, and I'm returning if item is greater than 3. In our case 4, 5, 6, all 3 are satisfying, but since 4 is the first one to satisfy the condition, 4 will be returned. Let's check that. console.log bigger number. Yes, this is pretty much what we have expected. Now let's look at reduce method over arrays. Similar to find, it reduce also returns a single value. So I'm gonna write let's just do the sum of the numbers that we have considered. So I'm gonna write sum equals numbers dot reduce. What does reduce do? Reduce essentially reduces our array of numbers into a single value. And how does that reduce is something which we are going to implement in our callback. Let's say uh, here within for our callback we will get two arguments. One is accumulator and the second argument is the current value. Here accumulated is nothing but the initial value or the previously returned value. Where do we give the initial value? We can give it as the second argument. Here in this case we want 0 to be our initial value. So as soon as this callback gets called for the first element in the array, accumulated will have 0 in its value as its value, and current value will be the that particular item value. So from here I'm gonna return accumulated plus current value. Now when it runs through the second element, let's say it runs to the second element, that is 2. In that case accumulated becomes 1 because that's a previous returned value, and the current value is 2, and now sum becomes 3. This is how reduce works. Let's try to log the summation now. Sum. Yes, if you see, it has given 21, which is nothing but the sum of all the values that we have considered in our numbers array. That is with our reduce method. Let's move ahead with sum method. If you see for filters, whatever values that are satisfying this condition, we are putting them in even numbers. We are framing a new array out of those. And for find, whatever is the first value that is satisfying our condition, we are returning that. And coming to sum method. Sum method is going to return a boolean value. Let's use sum to figure out if we have at least one even number. I'm gonna perform sum method upon our array, and this is expecting a callback. This intakes item as an argument, and I'm gonna return item percentile to double equals 0. It's the same condition that we have given in filter method here, but filter returns a new array of numbers that are satisfying this condition. But here sum returns a boolean value. Let's say now console.log, and I'm just logging has even. Yes, if you see here we have numbers which are satisfying even condition. That's the reason it has given true. Let's move on to every method. For sum, if at least one item is satisfying the condition, then we are returning true. But for every, we want every item in the array to satisfy that condition. Let's say I'm gonna copy paste this and I'm gonna write are all even. I'm just writing all even, and let's try to print that. Instead of sum, I'm gonna use every because we want every item to satisfy our condition. If you see here, it has returned false. This is because in our array we have odd numbers as well. Hope you have got a gist of what all these methods are and when to use them. These are basic utilities on arrays, and these are widely used ones. A good understanding of these methods helps a lot. Whatever we have discussed in this video, I have pushed that to GitHub with a very detailed notes along with examples. You can have a look at this. The link for this repository is in the description box below. That's all for this video. Thank you and see you in the next video.